Nice win the other day. I thought our crowd was really energetic early in the game, which I think is critical. I mean, you get 6 home games, they got to be special and they got to mean something, and we got to have support anytime we play at home because it's tough at home, but it's tougher on the road. So I thought our crowd got there early. I thought they were, like I said, enthused, energetic, and very helpful early in the game. And so I appreciate that. Our student body was just unbelievable once again, staying the whole time and bringing a whole lot of energy to the game. And it was a big difference against a really good West Virginia football team. So, did what we had to do, got the win. Now we got a big game against Iowa State this week. Same kickoff time, 11 a.m. Need the same energy, same enthusiasm, same determination, same toughness, and same will, that we brought last week as a university, as a football program, as individuals on the team. So that's going to be our goal this week, is to be better than we were last week.
John Werner, Waco Trib. Art, Grant Campbell stepped in for Bryce Hager this year. How do you feel like he's done and kind of what he's added there?
I think he's done a good job. Bryce was a tremendous player for us, 3-4 year starter, 53-man roster with St. Louis right now. So just a great player. Grant's, playing trees not quite as deep as what Bryce's was, but, he came in against Oklahoma last year, did a good job. Bryce was out a little bit, and he has done really a nice job this year. I think he's been a good leader, makes all the calls, defensively, a lot of them, and gets guys in the right spot, makes the right plays, and just really done a real steady job. So I think he's exactly what Coach Bennett, Coach Goose are looking for on that side of the ball at that position.
Bryce Cherry, Waco Trib. Art, on Shock's touchdown run the other day, it looked like KD really had a nice block to kind of help get him in the end zone. Just how important for your running game is those receivers blocking on the edge?
It's honestly something we don't emphasize much, in our scheme, the way we do things offensively. Now, Saturday we're a little bit different, because of the style of play that we knew West Virginia would bring to the game as far as pressing our guys a bunch, to where on running plays we could actually engage, and then, receiving plays we could release. But we had really a bunch of guys stepped up. Tootie, Jay Lee, KD, all were very physical, blocking another day, and made a huge difference, because anytime you got to play a defense, got 11 sets of eyes on the ball, like West Virginia does probably 85-90% of the time, you got to control those guys. And, so they were really instrumental in the game the other day. And it's really the first time, that we've, requested or allowed them to be able to be that aggressive on the perimeter.
Jerry Hill, Baylor Bear Insider. Art, you had talked about, I don't know if you were nervous, but you didn't want Seth running too much. Is he pretty smart, though, in terms of getting down when he needs to? Is he getting better at that part of it, I guess? Yeah,
nervous, I'm not sure would be the, correct way to describe, my feelings. I think, we just try to be intelligent with him. We realize it's a position if you want to see, grandmama while she's knitting, get up and scream, rub his face in the dirt. It's usually when they're tackling the QB, so we understand that at that position, that's where guys really kind of, sell it out. But he, I thought he did a great job ball protection and being intelligent when he was running, and you can, as long as you can see things, you can avoid a lot of hits. Now, he got hit a couple times blindside, and those are the ones that concern you, but he's a good enough athlete that if he's out in space and can see somebody, he can protect his body, and I think he did a really good job of doing that the other day.
Sean Giggy, News 10 Sports. Coach, obviously you've got a lot of good players doing a lot of good things this year, but after the game Saturday, Coach Holgerson said that you can put him down on record. Corey Coleman's the best player in America right now. Do you agree with that, and do you think that he is warranted of bringing the Heisman potentially back to Baylor?
Let's talk after 12 games, but I certainly think the way he's come out of the gates that he's we've known he's a special player. It's not earth-shattering news to us. We've been around him 4 years. So we know what he brings to the table. And, I've been saying it for, 2 years at least. It's his passion, it's his energy, it's his toughness, and it's his skill level that allows him to separate himself from other people. You can have a lot of passion, you can have a lot of toughness, you can have a lot of energy, you can have a lot of spirit, but if you don't have talent, then you're still going to be normal. He's got all that with talent. That's what allows him to separate and be different. So, yeah, he's very, very good.
Coach John Morris, Baylor Radio. Follow up on that. In what ways is he better? How's he improved his game this season?
Handling his emotions better, understanding defenses better. It's a maturing process all the way through. I'm at a position, fortunately, where I get to see, children become men, and so that's a blessing for me and for us as coaches that we get to ride that, that path with these kids as they become men time they leave when they're 22, 23 years old, some of them 21. But I would think just through the process of responsibility, accountability, and maturability is kind of what's made him different this year as opposed to last year. And he was really good last year. He was a 1,000-yard receiver last year.
Coach Sean George of Dallas Morning News. You guys gave up, over 400 yards against West Virginia, but still put together a, per se, complete defensive performance. How do you guys judge your defensive performance, I guess, at this point? Because it's so difficult with the way that you guys run so many plays and give up so much of the clock.
We really haven't run that many plays this year, not like we'd like to. I think we were at 84 the other day. We'd like to be, 90 to 94 every game, But it's not about the number of plays, it's about the number of points, So we're trying to score when we get the football. And that makes it easier on the other side of the ball defensively because it puts other teams in predictable situations. And so that's the way we like to operate. You get a 21, 20, 28-point lead, then all of a sudden, if they want to run it 3 yards a time, then we're okay with that. That's okay with us. So it makes the other team a little more predictable. But, judging our defense in this league, it's about 3 and outs and getting off the field and letting the offensive side of the ball have possessions. That's what it's about, points allowed, 3 and outs. And for any defense in the Big 12.
Coach in the back, John Elizano, News Channel 25 Sports. Iowa State, they hung tough with TCU last week through the first half, and then they kind of pulled away a little bit later. What do you expect to see from the Cyclones this weekend?
They're good. They're a good football team. You can ask Toledo. Double overtime at Toledo. I think they're number 23 team in America. TCU, number 2, 3 team in America. 21, I don't know what it was, 21 at half, 24, 21 TCU maybe. They got about 7 or 8 guys back on offense. Sam Richardson has been their QB for the last 3 years. Done a really good job. They got that kid Warren that's a freshman, that's redshirt freshman. It's, kind of lighting it up. A couple of really good receivers, big, tall guys, number 5. So they got some impressive people. Mangino does a great job with them, from an offensive standpoint, schematically, of, working for yardage. And, we just got to get them out of their comfort zone. Defensively, Wally's, been around as long as anybody, done a great job. They've changed up a little bit this year out of their traditional 4-2-5 look into a 3-man front. So that's a little bit different. But, they're a Big 12 team. They're a Big 12 team that, over the last decade has, probably been to 4 or 5 bowl games. So we have a lot of respect for them, and we know we're going to have to be at our best to be able to get a win Saturday.
Steve Cook, Sikkim Sports. Coach, West Virginia got called for a couple of chop blocks last week. Had a kind of a scary play with Andrew. What do you think the future is in terms of enforcement on the chop block? Do you think it will be called tighter? Any other thoughts on it?
It's just one of those things that can happen during the course of a game. You can go to 10 football games and watch them collegiately, and you might see 2 chop blocks. It's not a common penalty. It's not something that happens all the time, and that's because most time the linemen are on the same levels. They're either all down or they're all up. Chop block occurs when one's at a different level. So that's it's pretty unusual, penalty. But I don't see any changes coming. I mean, I bet if you check the stats on it over the last 5 years, in the Big 12 over all the games, I would guess there'd be 8 chop blocks called in 2010. It's probably the same in 2015, and that's a wild guess. But it's just not something that happens very often.
Nick Anazales, KCN Sports. Coach, Shock Linwood is at the top or near the top of every career rushing record, currently number 2 right now. How has he steadily improved since his freshman season? He made a big impact coming in as a freshman, and now as a junior, just really taking it up a notch.
I think keeping his passion and his hunger, more than anything. A lot of times when guys get a little success, or not a lot of times, but sometimes they can, start believing what they're hearing and what they're reading, and a lot of times they'll lose their drive and desire and their hunger that got them to what made them make people talk about them. So I think he's done a good job of, blocking out everything and just trying to be a passionate, inspirational football player, because that's what he is. I mean, he's an energizer. He's a guy that can inspire because he plays at an extremely high rate of passion and energy every time he steps on the field. And he does a lot of things kind of behind the scenes that probably a lot of people don't notice, as far as pass protection, helping our QB with calls at the line of scrimmage. So he's a really sharp guy, and he's done a great job for us. Fortunate to have him.
Coach, with you guys coming up this weekend, this will be Iowa State will be facing the top 3 offenses in America in 3 straight weeks. Do you think that better prepares them for you, since they've faced number 2 and number 3 offense already? And is that a gauntlet that you would want to go through?
It's just kind of the way it is when you get into conference play. I mean, you can bob and weave, but you're going to get hit, eventually. So, I mean, you know what it is in August, and it's not going to change in October. I mean, so it's a grind, it's a haul. You got to be tough, you got to be intense, and you got to be ready every time you step on the practice field. That prepares you for the game field. And so it is what it is. And if you survive this league, that's why only 2 universities have won it consecutively since its inception, I guess, in 1996. That's Oklahoma and Baylor have done it back to back. It's tough to do. It's hard to do because there's good people, there's good teams, and there's good traditions all across the board.
Or you talked about the other day about that extra time that Kendall spent with Seth. Can you talk about just the relationship those guys have built and maybe how critical that is for a young quarterback?
Oh, it's very critical. And that's what I was saying prior to the season. Our whole deal with Seth is just, figuring him out a little bit, because you don't know somebody till you live with somebody, until you go through experiences with somebody. So, we've had 6 games, and we're getting a good feel of, how he operates internally, because externally, that we can figure that out. But internally is what controls what happens on the outside. So, like I said, the more that we've been around him, the more Kendall's worked with him, the more impressed we've become, mainly because of what motivates him, and that's helping everybody on our football team. I mean, it's us and it's not me with him all the way.
Coach, mathematical midpoint of the season, 6 games in, 6 to go in the regular season. Anything that you do here at the midpoint, or does that even register with you?
Yeah, it honestly does, John. We're coming off a 5-week stretch, playing 5 games consecutively, 3 11 a.m. kickoffs. So it's kind of a bam, bam, bam deal. So we're going to, alter a little bit this week and just try to really stay tight and focused mentally, and then follow it physically, for about the next 5 days. And then, if we can take care of business, 11 a.m. at McLean Stadium Saturday morning, 3 p.m., then we'll low down just a little bit, and you got to settle before you can rise. So we'll try to settle, during that off week as we prepare for the next game. But, this week right here is it's a get tough week. It's stay tough week, and we're going to push all we got onto the table, and then let it ride Saturday, because to us there is no time after 3 p.m. Saturday.
Yeah, Art, you said earlier today that Andrew Billings is day-to-day. Would you probably put Bonds in there if he can't go?
We got 2 or 3 options. KJ's played in there a little bit. Bonds has been in there. So, we'll just kind of see how he progresses through the week and then determine from there. But, those guys are, their mouthpieces in. They're ready to go. Thank y'all very much. Appreciate it.